What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. Story time on this one. Okay, so it's one of the emails that I got from one of the viewers. If this is your first time landing on my channel, thank you for stopping by. My name is Phrankleen. I'm the brain behind this. So what this segment is about is I talk about pretty much eclectic topics that affect every facets of our lives. All right. So I get people sending me emails, and look at my description below if you have any stories you want to share with me, and if I get to read them and stuff, I'll be able to convert them into a video like this and make you anonymous. All right. So this one basically came from a gentleman who's based here in the UK. So been married for how many years now? I think roughly about a decade being with this woman, and they got 2 kids. So basically he has over time, they've been in the UK for quite some time, longer than a decade, but they've been married for 10 years and been dating for few years before they got married. So what happened is they both had a bit of a background with immigration stuff, the common stories within the immigration community. So the gentleman at some point started a business, a small business and stuff. He didn't disclose what the business is. So the business is sort of thriving, and he's starting to see some reasonable profits and stuff like that. He claims to love his wife and stuff. And long story short, so back home in Africa, he's from Nigeria, okay, and the wife is Ghanaian. So he at some point became eligible for inheritance from his grandmother. His grandmother passed away, so she left some assets, X amount of money and stuff like that. Anyway, before then, wife, they had kids and all that stuff. So he said when they had the second born, she had a few, medical complications and stuff. Thankfully, they were able to pull through that complication. But what that meant in reality was the fact that she couldn't work, she couldn't easily go back to work and all that stuff. And then he was, pulling the weight and all that, and so she could recover and stuff. And whilst they've also got the first child and all that stuff, the usual template. That's what couples are meant to do. You'll always find a common ground to make things move forward, even during difficult times. So what happened was, because she sat him down at some point and said, she would like to start, this business and all that stuff. And he said she was already doing something on a small scale, bringing in a bit of change here and there. And he, being his wife, being the love of his life. So, of course, if your husband, I always say this, if your husband or your wife or your significant other is not your number one fan, the question is, what are you guys doing together? You dig? Number one fan in the sense that if they don't believe in your idea or your goals and stuff, you might want to question that union. But he then said, then let me go back to the inheritance about the grandmother. So the gentleman said, he was called when just shortly after the grandmother passed away and she was buried, they gave him a few millions, back home in Nigeria, because the grandmother was a woman who had businesses and was quite wealthy. So what he got, if you convert it to pounds, at the time of filming this, was about £59,000, just short of 60 grand in inheritance, cash in the bank that was given to him. His siblings also got X amount of money and stuff. So long story short, this gentleman got roughly 60 grand and stuff, and then his wife was trying to do this business and stuff, and then he just said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna give you 26,000 pounds for her to be able to buy goods, and I think something to do with probably selling shipping in some goods from Nigeria. It might have to do with foods and whatnot, and then shipping them over and then being able to sell it in the UK for very good profit, betting on that foreign exchange rate. So for example, if if this was this mug, just trying to put things in perspective, you were able to buy it in Nigeria, for example, for maybe 50 naira, okay? You might be able to ship this to the UK and sell it on, okay, if there is a demand for it, sell it on for, God knows, maybe £5. So by the time you sell in volumes and you're able to buy this in 50 naira, which is not even up to £1, back home, that's a huge amount of profit. By the time you even remove your shipment fees and all that. So, people do that. It's the same thing with foodstuff and so many other things. So long story short, he gave his wife £26,000 from, the inheritance. So the agreement was, because he had seen the business case, as he claimed, so he knows what the products were. He said they were guaranteed going to make profit and all that stuff. The profit margin is vast, okay? So he gave her 26 grand. He said, okay, when you start to make, profit and all that stuff, you can conveniently start paying me back, rather than you going to the bank and, before the bank can give you 26 to 30 grand in loan, it's an uphill battle, and then that comes with interest. So he didn't want his wife to pay bank interest. So he gave her 26 grand from that inheritance money that he got from his grandmother. He was also doing something, don't forget, and he was paying bills. In a nutshell, they had a good life and they're happy. So after she recovered, then she had to make a trip to Nigeria to go and do, the groundworks and talk to suppliers and stuff and start basically buying, the products. So he said they got the money here. He had, money from his account to her account. Money, was back home in her account, and the agreement was she would go to Nigeria and go and do groundwork with the suppliers and stuff, and then start shipping the goods here and start selling and start making money as planned, as agreed. So long story short, the woman took 26,000 odd pounds and wired the money home, went home, did some legwork, had to travel to rural areas to talk to these, local suppliers and all that stuff. So, a bit of a work, because you have to establish those business relationships and look at the products if you prefer this. And she did a bit of traveling around. So he said all that, the beginning of the processes was great. And then it became paramount that she made another trip. So he said between that subsequent trip and then she came back to the UK and gave him all this feedback, and he was happy, was delighted. And then down the line, okay, what's going on? When are you going to start shipping goods and stuff? So cut the long story short, this gentleman realized that the goods were not forthcoming, and the wife said, oh, there was problem with the supplier. What happened? I gave them money, they've not shipped it. So, as some of the, preconceived notions about, not even about preconceived notions, some of the commonly known practices about some African suppliers or in our community in Africa is, there's a bit of dishonesty here and there, and whereby you have to be careful who you're giving huge amount of money to, and they can play games, even families can do you dirty and stuff. So alarm bells started, ringing, and he said there was a bit of a friction in their conversation, like, what? Have you paid money to them? Because she wasn't meant to pay money. Anyway, the story became a bit of a spider web and bit complex. And then he left it at that, because she said she was going to sort it out and stuff. And then she said her brother, she has an older brother back home, who's the firstborn of her family, who was basically looking into the situation, and they gave him assurances that nothing's going to happen. So he said, now this is this key point. His missus gave an impression like the money was fine, money was in account, they had paid just a little bit of this for testers and all that, whatever. So he said, okay, fair enough. Then fast forward to a couple of months later, nothing was forthcoming. Then he sat her down on a Saturday morning and he was asking questions. What's going on with, with the goods and stuff? Long story short, he found out that his wife had been lying to him. So what happened was, she had transferred the £26,000 that her husband lent or gave to her to start the business. She pushed the money into her older brother's bank account in Nigeria, who was basically, the guy on ground claiming he would help her, to get things done locally on ground and get the things, shipped. So now, don't forget that I said the gentleman is Nigerian and she's Ghanaian. So most of them Ghanaian by roots, but they grew up in Nigeria and they're also settled. Most of her family are settled in Nigeria and stuff. In case you're wondering how come she got family in Nigeria, but I'm going by the story here. So, it became apparent that, the whole thing is taking a banana shape. So the gentleman said it became a massive argument between himself and the wife and stuff. And then he called our older brother and said, why is the money in your bank account? Why? Okay, so where are the supplies, where are the goods and stuff? And then he cut the phone off and then subsequent calls were terminated and stuff. And then the wife here got defensive and she was like, oh, don't shout at my brother, leave him, he will sort it, Long story short, the older brother and another sibling, which was next after, she's the last born of their family, basically took that money, knifed that money. So no goods were forthcoming. They had spent the money, and then the husband here in the UK lost his rag. I'll do the same thing. That would drive me up the freaking wall. Anybody would, you would want to rip your shirt apart, because why would you do such? You put 26, let me put things in perspective. £26,000 times the current exchange rate at 450 at the time of filming this, that's about, I don't know if you can see that, that's nearly 12 million naira. That's a whole lot of money. And so then sentiments kicked in. She was sat here sort of crying and then telling her husband to take it easy, this and this. But the people back home had already executed the frauds. They've basically split the money. The money's gone into thin air. So he lost his rag and he said to her, give me back my flipping money. And then she's saying, there's nothing I can do, this and this. So the family's back home. Then it became all sentiment. And this is the thing that drives me up the freaking wall. This is what I say to people. Don't add sentiment. Stop giving money to families. But some people are neck deep in sentiments, and this is why lives get destroyed. This is why your finances get siphoned by unscrupulous people. If people can just apply just a little bit of common sense and we can just put sentiments on the shelf, I think it's very selfish. It's evil. It's unfair to a partner that believes in you, that loves you enough to give you £26,000 of his money. And let the truth be told. Let the truth be told. Not every partner is mentally capable, emotionally capable of giving the other partner £26,000 without any contracts, without any paperwork, without any guarantees that they're going to get their money back. Doesn't mean they don't love you, doesn't mean, but not everyone is mentally and emotionally capable of doing such. So if someone can give you, and what really kind of pisses me off as a person is some might watch this and say, oh, that guy is a mug for allowing her to take that kind of money and walk. But this is what I'm saying to people, man. It's crazy. It's things like this that really train people's minds, that removes the element of trust from people's minds, because somebody's going to watch this and say, hell no, I ain't never going to give anybody my money and stuff. Because money, like I always say, is causes a lot of problems in relationships. But then I always try to be objective, not because I'm a simpleton, right? Because they always say, there's that saying, something that's worth doing is worth doing well. You might as well be single, live your life. Because if I had my £26,000 sitting in my personal bank account, I'll be able to sleep at night. Even if I make a stupid mistake or a decision that I go make a bad investment, I put that money in a business and stuff, and I lose that money, at the end of the day, I will personally, learn from it, and I have nobody else to blame but myself. but to trust someone enough, to love them enough, to say, hey man, here is my money, £26,000, roughly 12 million naira, to invest in your vision. I believe in you. Here you go. Go and, run with your vision, run with your dreams. Here you go. Go ahead and be great. And when you start making money, you can pay me back. All because you don't want your partner to incur, bank charges and all that stuff. Some might argue, oh, you should let them, sign an agreement. And I agree with that in this circumstance because I feel bad for this brother. So now the bone of contention is he's lost his rag. He has basically said to her, give me back my money, and she's it's gotten all, parents back home, both families have, that loggerheads. There's a massive arguments of broke. I said, in fact, a couple of people from within both families have been involved in scuffles, police and soldiers and people threatening each other, power, all up in your faces. There's already huge amount of toxicity because it stemmed from this lady's decision, and the handling of it thereafter is absolutely appalling and disgraceful because she's basically sort of protecting her brother's interests. Now there are so many sides to this. I sat here and I'm thinking, could it be that this woman is actually involved in the orchestration of the scam, in an improper collusion with her brothers, her siblings, to fleece her man of this £26,000 and they split that money 2 or 3 ways? Because I would never understand for the life of me why you would do that to someone. So the gentleman now wants to break away and is threatening that I was going to take action and my 26,000 or I'll bin the kids and the marriage. So this is my advice. I get you are angry. If you decide tomorrow morning or today to walk away from that relationship, you're within your rights and I respect it. Don't bin your kids. Never turn your back on your kids. The kids are innocent. The kids have done nothing wrong. I know you are angry, and very rightly so, but don't turn your back on kids. Just the word, I will bin the kids, that statement alone just makes my skin crawl. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your kids are innocent. Be the best dad, be the best father you can to your kids. Now let's put the kids aside because it has absolutely nothing to do with them. They're very young. They have nothing to do with this. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if your woman, according to this man, she's not paying this back, she's not willing to do anything and he wants his money, he's not going to let go. I think the relationship is dead in waters. I hate to break it to you because if families have gotten involved and her brothers have, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not mentally wired that way. You're going to take £26,000 of my money, and this is one of the things that pisses me off about sentiments from Yoruba. If I say it in Yoruba, they'll say things like "Agba for long, Jekolo." Never. I will fight with every goddamn fiber in my body. I will make sure I push hard. Do you know what I mean? So I hate injustice. I hate when people, when it comes to my rights and things that belong to me, I'm like a dog with a bone. I wouldn't let go. So I agree with this gentleman. So I'm sorry, but if your partner can do that to you in a marriage, the marriage is done, man. It's dead. It's gone. It's finished. Let's not, let's call a spade a spade. It's gone. It's done. But here's what I'm going to say to you. I'm going to wrap up. Listen. If you're going to kill off the marriage, whatever monies, thousands of pounds that you've got sitting in your bank account in this country, move your money to Africa. Did you hear what I said? I'm not afraid to say this publicly. Move your money, because I'm guessing you got nearly £60,000 from your grandmother, right? £26,000 is hanging somewhere as we speak. So you probably have roughly 30-something thousand pounds, and I'm guessing you might have other monies that you've made from your small business. Remove that money. Any substantive money that goes past £1,000, £2,000, extra money, disposable income, move them into the shores of Africa, outside the jurisdiction of Europe, okay? Because I'm saying this to you from a brother to a brother. I don't care what anybody makes of this. This woman has failed catastrophically. She knows it. Don't be surprised, because you're very angry and then you file for divorce. Don't be surprised that she will pull a fast one. Okay? So say, for argument's sake, she gets a divorce lawyer. Pow! Pulls a fast one on you. To counter-sue you. They can apply to freeze your account. They can apply to even further deep into whatever you've got left that you've worked hard to build. These things happen every day. So protect yourself. Protect your resources. Facts only. I don't believe in religious nonsense. I don't believe if someone can do that, they are potentially capable of killing you. Protect your resources. Because I'm guessing, God knows, I don't know how much money you've got, but I'm guessing you still got some substantive amount of money stashed away. Move that money now. If you get to watch my video, move it now. Move it right away, far away from the jurisdiction of Europe. Do it now. It takes less than 24 hours. Go into your bank or whatever. If you've got money here, don't keep money here. So that, I don't know if you bought your house or whatever. Leave the house, man. Because, she probably will be there because of the kids. Like I said, don't turn your back on your kids. Move on. But protect yourself. Should that relationship crash, don't crash out of that relationship blindly. Because someone like that will be very calculative, and she will take you to the cleaners. She will run you to the ground. They can apply to freeze your bank account. They can apply to do forensic trace on you. And when they see how much money you've got, right, you end up paying for the divorce lawyers, this and this and this, and they will clean you out. It happens where a woman completely takes what a man has worked for. Believe me, man, run you to the ground and you may never recover for the rest of your life. Okay? I don't care what anyone says, all right? I'm a very objective person, but one of the fundamental problems that a lot of men have is we're blinded by emotions. So the moment somebody shows you that kind of vicious intentions, they've shown you their behavioral pattern, believe it. They've shown you that they're callous. Protect yourself, man. Believe me, one of the advantages of having a dual citizenship, that you have a root in Africa and you're living here. Alaye, I'm saying this in Yoruba for those that understand Yoruba. Alaye ko wue. Africa. Do it now, so that you're not left out, because what's going to be left is just telling stories and crying and people saying, oh, sorry, I feel sorry for you, man. Think on your feet and move quickly. All right? I wish you all the best, man. But whatever you do, do not turn your back on your kids. Okay? It's very important. They didn't do anything wrong. They're going to need their dad. If you have to speak to a lawyer, get legal advice and stuff, and see how you can get your money. And then if it gets really complex, and also one more thing, be very careful about going to Africa to confront those people on ground. Okay? Don't play checkers with your life, with your existence. You can get killed. You can get obliterated. Okay? Again, that's one of the common things in that jurisdiction. Okay? So you have to be smart. It might be a very painful one that you have to let go if you've tried every means to recover your money. Okay? If you can speak to reliable lawyers, there are a few of them back home that might be able to shake them or put a trace on them, and also go after their own assets if they're not playing ball. But if it gets overly complex, back off, cut your losses, protect what you've got, particularly here, because that woman, don't be surprised, I want a divorce. She's just not going to take the pen from you and sign the dotted lines, okay? She might flip the script on you and even try to further clean you out. So if you get cleaned out, what's there for you to then carry on with the rest of your life? Okay, it's your boy Phrankleen. Thank you for watching. If you haven't, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, look around my channel. If you want to send me email, look in the description below and contact me. And yeah, send me your stories. Please send me your stories. I want to read them. I'd love to convert them to videos, and hopefully we can all learn and improve ourselves. If you want to sponsor any of my videos and you have a business, product and services, you want to sponsor any of my episodes, get in touch with me, man. Let's talk. Let's work together, okay? Peace and love. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.